Good evening, friends. In recent days, I have been having conversations with people who belong to the building industry. These are not top management, not the top brass, although that happens as well. But these are middle level managerial sort of people. And we have been having communications, we have been sitting down together and having conversations. That's part of my job. Remember, I have to keep my mind open. I cannot start thinking of them as the devil. So, in these conversations, several things emerged. One of the things that I was constantly reminded of was that these are decent people trying to do a normal day's work and get paid for a normal, uh, get paid a normal salary for doing normal work, not evil work. They are not henchmen of evil, exploiting overlords, but they do speak on behalf of builders. And builders, as we have been discussing in the months past, have an adversarial relationship with flat buyers, their customers. They seem to be like adversaries. They are like almost like enemies of their the flat purchasers. So, what is going on? I'm just going to attempt an explanation of how it is that perfectly decent people can reconcile their decent behavior with the indecent terms and conditions that are imposed on flat buyers by the building industry. How does that happen? Well, here's how I think these indecent terms and conditions have come into existence. I'm going to make a hypothesis here. See, any company wants to do business and it wants to do maximum business and earn maximum profits. And the agreement format, the allotment letter, the application form, all these things, all the paperwork are designed by their employees, usually by the legal department, to ensure that they stay in business and they don't get into legal hassles. So these documents are drafted in such a way that legal hassles are minimized. Now, here's what I think happens. The top brass of the company, the directors or the CEO, assigns the job of drafting an agreement format to the legal team. The legal team then gives them a draft agreement. The top brass reads the draft agreement and thinks that there is some scope of litigation on in some of these areas. So they say, how can we reduce the scope of this litigation? So the legal team finds a way to reduce it by trying to make that area foolproof. It kind of closes the gates on litigation in that area. And then the top brass reads the other parts of it, and again the legal team goes back and makes it more foolproof, that is more pro builder. In the end, you have an agreement which is so extremely pro builder that it basically becomes anti flat buyer. This is how you get an agreement format which is blatantly anti-flat buyer, and it seeks to tie up the flat buyer hand and foot. Now, what happens if we approach the builder and say this is wrong? This is an unfair agreement format. Just for the sake of discussion, suppose somebody within the company were open minded and would say, Krishnaraj, you suggest a better format. So let me say I change some clauses and I dilute some clauses and I give it to them for their approval, for them to implement. Okay, and they look at it and say, okay, we will discuss this with our board of directors, and the board of directors will sit down and say, okay, what happens if we dilute or if we change the agreement format in a way that is not so anti-flat buyer? Then immediately the answer would be yes, but at least a few flat buyers are going to litigate against the company. They're going to go to court against the company by using these clauses. They will use these clauses against the company. And the company has to be open to that in all fairness. But if it is open to that, or if it is open to being litigated against, then you know that you win some court cases, you will also lose some court cases. And which company wants to lose court cases? So the board of directors is likely to simply say, no, don't accept those changes because it is likely to result in some court judgments against us. And it is likely to result in some losses, some loss of face, some actual loss of money. So why would a company accept something which is likely to result in losses? Okay, so because of this kind of dynamic, we are stuck with having agreement formats and this entire bunch of paperwork which is blatantly pro-builder. It is true that builders, companies deal with lakhs of buyers or thousands of buyers, tens of thousands of buyers. So they deal with large numbers of people and they try to safeguard themselves from litigation. Some of these formats have become so common, some of these clauses are replicated by various builders because all of them think it's a great idea. It's like a magic formula for avoiding pain later on. But the way these clauses are interpreted later by the lower staff, or they are misused, what happens is, as soon as you create an area of what's the right word, an area of operations that is foolproof, that is proof against litigation by flat buyers. The moment you create these areas, the staff lower down, which wants to sell the maximum number of units, which wants to maximize profits every quarter, that staff starts misusing it. It starts wanting to misuse, actively wanting to misuse these clauses in order to maximize profits, because they can't be litigated against. They realize that, okay, this protects us against litigation. So now that we are protected against litigation, let's do this activity. Let's sell. Let's sell in any way we can. Let us missell. Let us fool the customers. Let me give you an example. There is a disclaimer in almost every builder's agreement which says that no matter, regardless of what has been said in brochures or in sales literature, or what has been told to you in the sales office, what will prevail over all that is this agreement. Okay. Now the intention of this clause may have been at some point of time to simply prevent conflict between what someone else may have said, what some salesman says, and what is written in the agreement format. They are afraid of what an email might say, what a simple email might say, versus what is there in the agreement. Now, that may be the original intention of this clause, but the result of such a clause is that it gives a license to lie. It gives a license to blatantly mislead the customers, tell them lies in brochures, tell them lies in the sales office, show them sales flats which are actually the show flats which are actually larger than the actual flat. Lie and mislead and conceal significant truths. Avoid mentioning to the customer things that he must know, he should know. This entire spectrum of lying becomes possible because of this one disclaimer. One disclaimer. What is it? It says that the agreement will prevail over anything that has been previously said. In a brochure, in an advertisement, by a sales staff, in an email, anything. Okay. Disclaimer, just one line. Its misuse is abundant. You can go to court and say that, look, no matter what any salesman has said, this will prevail. No matter what he said in an email, what he may have said in writing, what false representations he may have done, none of that will hold good. Therefore, what happens in such a case is the customer is simply trapped by the agreement document. So in this way, you have various kinds of clauses which may have crept in with very, very good reasons, but the overall effect of this is that it is toxic. If you make something so favorable to the builder, if you make the agreement format so favorable to the builder that it completely protects the builder from litigation, then the overall effect of that is that it leaves the buyer completely exposed to cheating, completely exposed to builder's arbitrariness, completely exposed to anything that the builder may want to do for maximizing his profits. Okay, the company's profits. This is the issue. So, I'm going to hold out a kind of an olive branch here to the construction industry, guys. I am going to say, listen, guys, I know that you are not necessarily criminal-minded evildoers. I understand that you are acting rationally. You are only acting rationally to maximize your profits. But the overall effect of your activity is hurting lakhs of flat buyers. It is actually financially harming lakhs of flat buyers. The overall effect of your activity is toxic to flat buyers as a community. And therefore, you guys need to relook at your paperwork. You guys need to relook at your practices. You guys need to relook at what is being done in your sales offices and by your CRM staff and by your security and all these guys. Your relationship with your flat buyers should be one of kindness and understanding and compassion and good marketing practices. Your relationship with your flat buyers, with your customers, cannot be a relationship of exploitation. of using the law, the written word, to exploit them, to hurt them, to corner them, to trap them, to remove their financial autonomy, to force bad flats on them, badly planned flats on buyers. That cannot be the way to do business, the way to do sustainable business. I'm holding out this olive branch, okay? I hope there are enough people, enough members of the construction industry listening to me who will reach out and take this olive branch, this offer of peace. And if you don't, let me tell you the consequences. You guys have built up a wall between yourselves and the flat buyers. Okay? The construction industry has built a wall. It's a wall of lies. It's a wall of words, legal sounding words. It's a wall of malpractices. It is a wall of non-transparency and non-accountability and unreasonable business practices. You have built up a wall between you and the public. Okay? Because there's a wall, there is someone like me who's hammering at the wall, who's ramming at the wall. Okay? So guys, we are going to ram that wall. Okay? We are going to break that wall. We are going to break it. We're going to smash it. If you don't mend your ways, if you don't make yourself more accountable, transparent, gentle with your customers, less profiteering, if you don't mend your ways, the only choice left for someone like me, for people like me, I'm sure I will not be alone. I'm not alone already. There are quite a few people who are joining in. You've seen that. Okay. You've seen their social media posts. There will be more. We will have to ram your wall. We'll have to break your wall. We will have to thrust reforms down your damn throats. I hope the building industry will not wait for that to happen. I hope that you guys will put your head together and listen properly instead of just trying to defend your whole thing in courts. Believe me, I don't care if the entire court system favors you. The fact still remains that what you are doing is wrong. And because of the blatantness, the blatant naked wrongness of what you guys are doing, what the construction industry is doing, no court can protect you. We will ram you regardless of what courts say. And believe me, we will win, we will prevail irrespective of court judgments. We hope that we will get court support, and I'm confident that we will get court support. We will get support from the judiciary. I'm confident. But in the event that we don't get support from the judiciary, in the event that we are even let down by the courts, believe you me, we will still ram you. We will still ram you so hard, we will ram down those walls of lies. Take a warning. Be nice. Voluntarily accept changes, and your life will be a better place. Thank you.